In this video, we look at other forms of conditionals. So recall the example where we had output statement if we had 5 items or less. All right, so you can use the express lane. But there's no alternative statement. If this is false, this gets skipped, but nothing else in particular happens. If there's something following the whole if statement, that will happen no matter what. So take a look at this. How many items do you have? Let's say 4. I can use the express lane by. Let's run it again, and let's say 7. Oh, it just says by. Okay, so the statements that are outside the scope of the if happen regardless. However, sometimes there's something you want to do when a condition is true, and there's something specific you want to have happen when the condition is false. So we can model that with an else branch. So I can say something like else. All right, so now what's going to happen in this arrangement is that one statement or the other is going to happen because the expression can only be true or false. There's no in between. All right, so if it's true, this branch executes, else. And we have another branch. Else means else what to do when this is false. Right, so else will activate when the statement is false. So let's take a look at that. Java C. So say 2 items. I can use the express lane by. Run it again. Say 10 items. Use a non-express checkout by. Okay, so this is still not controlled at all by the if statement. So you can have statements that follow the if block. They'll execute no matter what. But then we can have alternatives, where something happens when the condition is true, something different happens when the condition is false. Okay, and another thing is that if statements can be nested inside of one another. All right, so let's look at a slightly different example. We start off say, well, is it cold outside? We're going to give advice on how to dress. Right? So next statement is we just get input from the user. If the input is no, okay, well, we'll just say, okay, wear shorts, and then we're done. And we have an empty else branch. I'm going to develop that in a second. So let's see the basic form here. Nested if statements. Is it cold outside? No. Wear shorts, enjoy your day. Is it cold outside? Yes. Okay, enjoy your day. So we don't have any statements, but what we really want to know is, should we wear a jacket or a parka? And we'll go look something like this. So we ask another question. Is it snowing? And we'll say string snowing is keyboard next. And if snowing equals yes, okay, then I'm going to say wear a parka. Otherwise, if snowing is not equal to yes, we'll say wear a jacket because it's still cold. So this whole branch, right, executes now. Now we have a more than one statement, right, to execute in the case that this is false. So when this is false, this whole branch is going to execute, and the branch includes another if statement that's nested within. Right, so and the braces, of course, have to all match up right. Have a little misspelling there. Right, let's see how that works. Is it cold outside? Yes. Oh, so now we get another question. So this statement got skipped, right, because yes now is stored in cold. Right, so this statement is false. So we skip it and we go to the else branch. So now we're executing in the false branch. So, well, is it snowing? And we're blocked on this line. That's what this means. We had the print, right, that executed, and now these assignment statements that execute from right to left is on the right-hand side waiting for me to give the answer to this question. And I'll say yes. Wear a parka. Okay, so if snowing equals yes, and it does because that's what I typed here, we get this. So run it again, and we'll say yes, but it's cold, but it's not snowing. Okay, wear a jacket. And because this was false, we executed the else branch. Another kind of example is called multiple selection. And for this, suppose we have a score and we want to translate that to a letter grade. So I'll have input statement for the score. One to 100, or 0 to 100. And int score is keyboard.next int. All right, so we have a series of things that we want to know, and go like this, right? If the score is greater than or equal to 90, right, then we'll say system.out.println. That's an A. If that's false, well, instead of nesting the condition, because they're all related, we could just put the next condition right after the else. Say else if score, if it's not greater than or equal to 90, maybe it's greater than or equal to 80. And we'll say that's a B. And if it's not greater than or equal to 90, perhaps it's greater than or equal to 70. And we'll say, okay, that's a C. Else if score greater than or equal to 60, that's a D. Then we don't have to ask anymore. There's only one other possibility. All right, so we'll say else. Oops, not else. That's an F. So we'll try this. Clear. Java C. All right, so with something like this, you have to run it enough times to see that you get all the answers that that are possible. So we'll start with a 95. That's an A. let's say 85. That's a B. And what you're looking for here is that you get the output that you want and none others, no other ones. So I run it again. 5, 65, 50. So I have all the possible results that my program can give. Now, this would not do the right thing if these were not all linked together like this. Java looks at this as one big statement. And notice what's going on here, right? When, say, the first two were false, of course I skip this. So draw your attention to this middle one here where input was 75. All right, so this is false. The system checks the next thing. That's false also. This is true. All right, so it executes. Well, 75 is also greater than or equal to 60. But notice that only one output was produced. All right, that's because when the conditions are all linked together, such as in this example, right, the first one that is true is the only one that executes. The rest of them get skipped. All right, so, for example, I'm going to mess this up, all right, by doing something like this. All right, so now they're not really linked anymore. Okay, these are just sequential if statements. These are just sequential if statements, and they're not connected. They're all going to get checked. And so we see what's the score? 95. Wow. Okay, so I get 4 different grades. All right, that's because this was true, so this executed, and then it started over. This was not recognized as having anything to do with the previous condition. Well, a 95 is also greater than 80, so we got a B2. Was greater than 70, was greater than 60, so all 4 grades come out. So in something like this, right, you get multiple possible grades. That's why it's important to execute your program and make sure the logic is correct. So it makes a difference. It makes a difference if the conditions are tied together with else-ifs, or if they're independent from one another. So we'll get back to the right form. We just want one and only one score, right, for each grade.